WeTicket.com. I'm with A.J. Ali, the director, producer for the film Walking While Black. Love is the answer. Welcome, A.J. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Al, for having me on.
Oh, yeah. Well, I saw the documentary and well, I was impressed. I really was impressed with it. But my problem was, well, it's 2017 when you made this. So is it just not coming out now? Or tell me the story.
Yeah, sure. So we did release it to a private audience in 2017, and since then we have been screening it with universities, high schools, police departments, sheriff's offices, nonprofit organizations like the NAACP, and other groups. We've even had Homeland Security and Fortune 500 companies like Marsh McLennan use it to train their people on
Right.
how to treat people. So we're now coming up on the broad release, and we're looking forward to that later this month.
Oh, that's great. And you had a lot of very interesting people there in the documentary. For example, you had this Lieutenant Colonel in there, Russell. Tell us a little bit about that. Did you get a chance to meet him and talk to him?
Oh yeah. Well, Mel and I are dear friends. In fact, we met back in somewhere around 2009. I was doing a television show called Goodfellas of Baltimore, and that was a show about people just helping other people. And I met Melvin then when he was with the Baltimore Police Department. We became fast friends, and we stayed in touch. And when I decided to make this film, he was the first person I called. And he actually had a really big role in helping me to come to the understanding that love truly is the answer, and that we had to tackle this police community relations, racism, systemic racism, that we have to tackle that in a spirit of love. And by love, I don't mean a passive, touchy-feely, put up with anything kind of love. I'm talking about the kind of love that is all action words. So we made an acronym out of that word love, and he and I and others are now going around the country just teaching it to other people.
Well, who do you teach this to? Do you teach this to police departments? You talked about other groups like the NAACP, but say like you came down here to Miami, where I'm at, or Fort Lauderdale. Who would you teach this to? Let's say like here in Miami or Fort Lauderdale or Boca Raton, where I'm at. Who would you teach that to?
Brother, it's anyone and everyone. One of the big mistakes that people have made in the past is that you've got police in one room learning their tactics and even community policing methods by themselves. And then you've got community groups who are in another room who are talking about the police and the problems that we're having with them and what can we do about it. Very rarely do groups come together to solve these things. And so what we do is we put these groups together. We invite anyone and everyone into these rooms, whether you're a newly returning citizen, whether you're a cop who's been on the beat for 30 years, whether you're a rookie cop, whether you're a mayor, a student, high school student, college student. We want everyone to be in the same room to learn these principles, which are this. I pledge to learn about the people in my community, to unconditionally open my heart to their needs as if they were all immediate family members, to volunteer to be part of the solution in their life during both good and challenging times, and to empower everyone I meet to do the same as if our lives depended on each other. And when we teach those things, that's learn, open, volunteer, and empower, L.O.V.E. When we teach people how to love each other through those 4 action steps, when they're in the same room and they see this film, and then we teach them these principles, amazing things happen. I've seen miraculous things happen since this film came out in 2017.
Now, did you also see things change with certain police departments in certain cities that you presented this to? Because I think I do remember one of the police officers one of the head of the police department. He said there were some big changes there because of, well, some of the things that you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, they're we're really proud of that, and you know, the film just kind of puts people into a space of, you know, maybe we can do things differently, maybe we can do things better. And so police departments all over the country, unfortunately, not enough of them have seen it yet, but now that we're going to do this broader release, hopefully that will happen. But we've seen police departments change some of their policies. We've seen recently in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, more than 30 of the police departments there have pledged to, and they are doing it, they're using this film to train their officers to be not just friendlier, but more in tune with their community members. And as a result, it has spread throughout Bucks County, Pennsylvania, throughout the state of Pennsylvania, to the tune of a half a dozen district attorneys licensing the film, to the tune of dozens of police departments using the film and making these changes. One of them hired their very first social worker to come on board and go
Oh,
on
really?
call police officers. Yeah, that was in Ben Salem, Pennsylvania. The chief there, Fred Haran, has been doing great work. There's a guy named Chachi. I love that name. He's the chief in Yeadon, Pennsylvania. He just broke ground on a community garden on Monday. He and a bunch of community members and some of his officers. And so for the very first time in Yeadon, there's going to be a love garden. And they're so excited about it. So excited that they actually want to do more. They want to make it so that people can walk to a garden, a love garden, where police and community members take care of it together and then give the food away to food insecure seniors in their community. So that's something that's tangible, that really is going to bless people there in that community. We're seeing things like that happening all over the country.
Well, that's good. Well, let's talk about a little bit more what's in the film too. What I saw,
Yeah.
for example, uh, someone stated, or the narrator stated, that when a police officer needs to make an arrest, because a police officer needs to make an arrest, certain numbers of arrests each month to bring up their quotas, things like that. They always go to the Black neighborhood. They always go to the poor neighborhoods. And how are they going to change from that?
Well, it's been happening since, let's face it, 1619. You know, we've been getting the short end of the stick for over 400 years when it comes to policing in America. And yes, you're right. When police officers feel like they need to boost their numbers, and very rarely will a department leader admit that there are quotas, but we all know that there are. And I've had plenty of police chiefs and sheriffs tell me that they might not say it on camera, but there are quotas in a lot of these agencies. And so where do they go? They do go to the Black and brown neighborhoods. They go to poorer communities, and really what
Yeah.
they're looking for easy prey. We're talking about predators who are looking for an easy target for them to be able to go and boost those numbers, to get those tickets and those arrests, because they feel like they're going to get away with it. If they go into a neighborhood that's a little wealthier, or a white neighborhood, they're thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't do the wrong thing here, because there might be somebody influential and it might cost me my job. And so that's where they go: Black and brown neighborhoods and poorer communities.
Yeah, I know. I've been a victim of that policy myself,
Hmm.
and I've seen it in my neighborhoods, when I was growing up and things like that. But how can the police department, get over, for example, you saw where a few police officers, male and female, always felt that they were in danger, or they were afraid when they approached a Black man or a Black woman when they wanted to pull them over or whatever. They always felt that they were in fear of their lives when they, see a Black man or a Black woman, and they shoot them or they do something detrimental to that Black person. So how are you going to change that?
Well, we're seeing the changes happen, but it's happening slowly, and we really have to be intentional about it. A lot of these peace officers, just like everyone else, grew up with bias. They grew up with bias in the media. They grew up with bias in their household. They grew up with bias in school, in the workplace. And for decades, that message has been reinforced that Black people are scary, that we're going to rob you if we see you coming down the street, right? How
Yeah,
many
yeah,
times have I heard that door locked when I came close to a car, or seen somebody walk across the street when I'm approaching, right? You probably
yeah.
experienced the same thing,
Oh
right?
yeah,
So
oh
these,
yeah,
these biases get reinforced. And so, Bernard Ferguson, he's a former special agent. He's in our film, and he
yeah,
stated it beautifully. He had some really powerful things to say about that. And he comes back to what he calls emotional intelligence. And he wrote a great book called Where's the EQ? It's all about emotional intelligence. And one of the things that we're doing is we're helping peace officers and others in the community to develop higher levels of emotional intelligence, so that that counteracts that bias that they've grown up with.
yeah. In fact, not only, but for me, not only just the police. Yeah, when I was a graduate student, white student, she was in my class, and I was in the library. This is the library now. I just said hello to her. She was in the library. She jumped up, screamed, "Oh, you scared me! You scared me!" And then she went back and reported it to the professor. He
Mm.
told me, her story, and she reported to him that I scared her and things like. Because I'm tall, I'm 6'3", and things like that. But he told me nothing to worry about. But I was saying, but why did she go to you about this? And how come she didn't come to me? He said, because she's afraid of you.
Mm. Yeah,
It's,
Al, I've experienced that same thing, man. We lived in Santa Monica prior to our move to Henderson, Nevada, and
mm,
I remember a neighbor who I had spoken with probably a dozen times. Was sitting on a bench, and my wife and I were walking towards her, and she got startled, and she it was very visible. She got startled because she saw me coming, and
yeah.
I later talked with her about that, and she apologized and said, and she owned up to it. She said, I didn't recognize you at first. I just saw a Black man. And I really appreciated her being open about that, because
Yeah,
it led to some really honest conversations about where we are in America, and what all this promotion of bias, all these false narratives have done to everyone. It doesn't just hurt us. It doesn't just hurt people that look like you and me. It hurts everyone. To have that kind of feeling just because I'm walking in your vicinity, you know.
yeah, yeah. Now, let me talk about Zeke Williams. Tell us about his story. He was
Uh,
falsely imprisoned.
oh yes, yes, Zuki,
Zuki.
yes,
I wrote down the
yeah.
name
So
wrong. Zuki. Oh, yeah,
yeah,
those are
so
O's, not E's. Yeah, Zuki.
yeah, Zuki, he and Andrew are dear friends of each other, and I've become dear friends with them as well. Here
Well,
was
tell
a
us who
man,
Andrew is. And also,
Andrew Andrew Collins was a cop in Benton Harbor, Michigan, and he took it upon himself to frame uh, Jamel McGee, goes by Zuki. And Jamel went to prison over Andrew's lies. Um, After Jamel had been in for a little while, Andrew got caught, and he actually fessed up to the FBI about that and other things that he had done, just really trying to keep up with other people in the department, that quota that we were talking about, and getting those numbers in. And he bought into the really toxic environment in that department.
mm-hmm.
And so Andrew wound up going to prison over that, and Jamel got released. Years later, they met. After both of them were out, they met in the same town, and Andrew was forgiven by Jamel. And their stories in our film. They've also got a book out, and they have done wonderful things going around the country teaching people about truth and reconciliation. And it's a beautiful message.
Yeah, I thought that was a very beautiful message and a very beautiful story that
Yeah.
Zuki McGee, I said Williams at first, but Zuki McGee, he might be my cousin because he spelled his name the same way as mine. But anyway,
Yeah.
that they got together and, they both forgave each other. And now they both accept each other as humans. And now they go out on the road together to tell people the story, but to tell people, look, you don't have to be like other people. You have to be yourself and just be truthful in what you do and respect people.
That's right. Yeah. That's what it comes down to, right? Just learning how to respect other people. And none of us are really taught that in school. If you think back to elementary, middle, high school, and what I'm talking about is a class on how to love your neighbor. It's very rarely taught. In fact, I've asked rooms full of people all over the country, and I think maybe 3 or 4 hands have ever gone up in asking thousands of people that. And so we've got to teach people what it means to receive love and to give love in really honest ways. And that, I think, will go a long ways to not only improving police community relations, but so many other ills that our society is facing today.
Yes, but don't they supposed to learn that through their religious upbringing? Many
We're
people
supposed
should.
to. Oh, absolutely. We're supposed to, right? We're supposed to learn those things at home. We're supposed to learn those things in school. We're supposed to learn those things in our church or mosque or synagogue. Unfortunately, it really rarely ever happens.
Yeah.
It's paid lip service to. A lot of people talk about it, but do they act it out? Do they live it out? Um, my father used to beat my mom, and sometimes, we didn't know if we were going to survive the night. And I remember so many times afterwards, after he had sobered up, he would tell me that he loved me,
Mhm.
and it really was hollow. It didn't mean much. In fact, it twisted my thoughts and feelings about, well, what is love. I had to learn as an adult what love really means, because as a
Yes.
child, those were the kinds of things that I experienced, right? And I think a lot of people are in the same boat, where we're not learning it through the institutions that should be teaching it to us. And that's why it's my life mission to teach people how to love each other.
Yeah, because I was, and again, as I was watching the documentary, and I said, well, we should teach each other to love. But I was saying, talking to myself, I said,
Mhm.
yeah, well, African Americans can understand that message, but the problem that African Americans have is the white people. Will white people get the message? Will
Yeah.
they understand what this documentary is saying, and also the message from the documentary? Will they understand it? Because they are the ones. I don't want to just single out white people, but basically it's mostly white people who are racist.
Yeah, look, the whole construct of racism in America is something that was created by white people and has thrived throughout the years, based on their continuous promotion of it. We have, as a people, Black people in America, we have tolerated it, we have put up with it, we have survived it, and we have also shown great amounts of love and patience, and in dealing with this. I mean, look at what happened when a young man went into a church and murdered people who were in a Bible study.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Yeah,
classic example where the cops took him to Burger King. They treated
Dylan
him
Roof.
like he was a hero, and our people forgave him. And I know that some people are tired of doing that. I'm tired of doing that. I'm 57 years old. I've been forgiving people for their racism my whole life. And it's tiring. And a lot of Black people are walking around really tired these days, sick and tired of being
Yeah.
sick and tired
Yeah.
about this
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
And so, but we've gotta continue to extend an olive branch, continue to press, continue to teach. You know, Martin Luther King Jr. Most people in America did not like him. In fact, he was the most hated man in America at the time of his death.
Especially the FBI.
Phew, boy, tell me about it. Now look, though, here we are, 2021, right? He's a national hero. His day is celebrated every year. You know, his quotes are all over the place. But what we need to do is we need to get people to realize that there are literally millions of people right now who are Black, who are hated because they're Black, including you and me, right?
Hmm.
And 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 we are doing everything we can to be good citizens, to be positive people, to be there for our family, to be there for our community. I served in the military, United
So
States
did
Air
I.
Force.
Yeah. Air
All right,
Force
my man.
myself. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. So you know, we're contributing in spite of all the odds being stacked against us. And so we reached out not only to Black organizations, but also predominantly white organizations, every color of the rainbow. And we're out there getting white people to learn these principles in the presence of every other, color in the rainbow, like I said. And we're working it out together as family. I teach people from the standpoint of, if we have met, then we are now family. You are now my brother, and I need to
Yeah.
treat you accordingly. And we need to be there for each other. And it's not going to go away overnight. I don't know if racism will ever go away totally, but I know we can make a dent in it. I know there's more light than darkness. And I know that just from what I've seen from this film and the work that we've done with the book and the webinars and everything that we've created to go with it, that people's hearts and minds can be transformed if we take the time and we're relentless with that love. If we take that time and realize that it might not happen in a day or a week or a month, but just like the Montgomery bus boycotts that lasted for not days or weeks, but months and years, that if
Yeah.
we commit to this, right? If we can commit to it, like our relatives did during the civil rights movement, then we can change everything, everything.
Now, also in the documentary too, you got a speech by Governor Newsom where he talks about fear and anger. Now,
Yeah.
how was you able to insert that into the documentary and listen to his speech at that time? Because I thought it was very impressive what he was saying and the way you edited it.
Well, we didn't have to do a lot of editing with his talk. That was actually at an AME church in Los Angeles.
Yes, I saw
And
that.
yeah, a lot of people think he's a pastor when they see him up in that pulpit. He really delivered a message. Yeah. Um, but it's true that there is a lot of fear and a lot of anger. And I'll say for myself, I carried a lot of fear, a lot of hate, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, a lot of pain with me for a long time. In fact, after the episode that happened in my community where I was just walking down the street and police threatened me with arrest just for walking in my own community, accusing me of breaking into homes when all I was doing was going for a walk. That made me angry. The fact that one officer turned into three, and one of those officers, he was pretty close to taking me down physically until I said the magic words, "My attorney's on speakerphone." You know,
Yeah.
I walked around with that anger when they didn't apologize, when the police department ignored my request for a meeting with those officers so that we could hash it out. You know, I got even angrier when police in that community started to come after me, targeting me for harassment after I reported it to Internal Affairs and the NAACP. And it took me 2.5 years from June of 2012 until the fall of 2014 to really embrace the fact that being angry and being scared and having that level of frustration won't solve anything.
Yeah.
That in order to get rid of the hate and the fear, we gotta bring that love. It's the most powerful force in the universe. And when I first started saying that, I didn't totally believe it. I just knew that that's what God placed on my heart, and I had to. But then I started to see the results of that time and time again. First, it was on a monthly basis. I'd see somebody's heart change. And then it became weekly. And now it's daily, where every single day I have a report coming into me via email, phone, or text, where someone's telling me about the power of love and what Love is the Answer has meant to them. And half of those calls that are coming in are from police chiefs and sheriffs around the country, now thanking us for the work that we've done and inviting us to walk alongside and help them to be better, not only at their job, but in life as well.
Wow. Well, AJ, I'm so glad to talk to you and talk about your great documentary. Because as I was watching it, I said, well, how's that going to work? You explained it all to me, how you making it work and how hard you working at this. And not only that, showing a whole lot of what happened to us African Americans from the police department. But again, how you're not bitter anymore because you found a key to unlock your humanity. I really appreciate it, AJ.
Thank you, Al. I'm gonna stick with that, my man. Love truly is the answer, and I just ask everyone to give it a shot. And if you need help, reach out to me, and we'll walk with you as well.
For sure. Well, thank you very much for taking time with me, Al McGee at yeticket.com. And AJ Ali, I really appreciate it. And and how can people see this documentary now? Is it coming out on VOD, movies, DVDs? How?
Yes. Later this month, towards the end of May, it'll be out on several platforms, and people can simply go to walkingwhileblack.com to find out where they can tune in and see the film.
And I'll put that your address in there also with the notes at the end of this video. Well, thank you, and I hope to keep in touch with you.
Absolutely. I look forward to seeing it up. Yes. All right. Aloha, brother.
All right, you too, my brother. And may love always be there for you and everyone around you and everyone you touch. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you.